It's been called the most savage attack on workers' compensation in a generation. Still, the O'Farrell government has staunchly stood by its plans to overhaul the scheme amid protests and a parliamentary investigation. But late last night, crossbenchers got nervous, threatening to stall the bill in the upper house. And today, to make matters worse, firefighters called a snap strike, throwing the government into a panic. State political reporter Eliza Blue joins us now from Macquarie Street.
Juanita, it was an extraordinary day to be here at Parliament House. At one stage, dozens of fire trucks were crammed here into Macquarie Street, horns and sirens blazing. It was deafening, and you could hear the noise in question time where all the MPs were sitting. Now, Lucy Nally filed this report on how the strike action unfolded.
Firefighters don't strike often, so when they do, they go all out. For the first time since 1956, firefighters in Sydney, Newcastle, the Illawarra and the Central Coast voted in favour of industrial action.
I commend the motion to you, and we walk out the door at 1300. All those in favour? Yeah.
So they walked out the door and straight to Macquarie Street to urge the government not to go ahead with controversial workers' compensation legislation.
Shame, Mary, shame!
Laws would dramatically reduce the number of injured workers who are eligible for unlimited payments. Fireys are furious that police, coal miners and volunteer firefighters will be exempt from the changes, but they won't.
We do a dangerous job. We deserve to be protected.
But the Premier, Barry O'Farrell, returned fire, using question time to attack the union over the strike.
That is one of the most irresponsible actions I've ever heard of from a public sector union in the history of this state.
He says it's outrageous that fire stations in the most populated areas of New South Wales were left unmanned. The Rural Fire Service was on standby to take emergency calls. But when a blaze broke out at a Ramsgate home south of Sydney, there was mass confusion, with the Fire Brigade, the RFS and Sydney Airport's emergency workers all turning up. The homeowners say crews took 25 minutes to arrive at the scene and the house was gutted. But the Fire Brigade maintains it responded within 13 minutes. Back at State Parliament, Coalition MPs were out in force, insisting the work cover changes are necessary.
Many workers, including Fire Brigade workers, who do go onto a workers' comp scheme, if you were to go down the current path that's being debated in the Legislative Council, will in fact be better off.
But the opposition seized the moment, telling the crowds that Barry O'Farrell has failed the people.
What we have in New South Wales is a Premier who knows one thing and one thing only, and that is to get stuck into workers.
For now, there's not much more the union can do. Just a short time ago, the Industrial Relations Commission banned it from taking further strike action for the next 3 months. Lucy McNally, ABC News.
Incredible pictures there, Eliza. How has the government responded this evening?
Well, the sound and fury hasn't swayed the government. The Finance Minister, Greg Pearce, said that fireys won't be exempt from the and he said that if they were, they'd miss out on some of the big benefits of the legislation. Now, that seems to be cold comfort from the union movement, who says they will consider further industrial action as the time goes on.
It's been a tough week all round for the government, hasn't it?
I think, Juanita, it's fair to say they've had a bit of a shocker this week. They tried to ram through the work cover legislation, but right now the upper house MPs are debating 130 amendments, and of course they copped a lot of flack yesterday for their 20-year rail vision, which some described as a pipe dream because it's all based on a second harbour crossing that doesn't exist. So Barry O'Farrell and his troops may be a bit bruised and wounded, but they'll get what they want. They've now got the numbers to pass the bill through the House, probably tomorrow.
State political reporter Eliza Blue.